Hi, I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts. Today we're going to talk about the Wild at Heart and Woodland Wonder kit from Hunkydory. Today we're looking at the Wild at Heart and Woodland Wonder Designer Deco-Large kit. Sometimes people are a little afraid of these because of the words Deco-Large, but that doesn't mean that your cards have to be giant. In fact, of the cards we're looking at today, I think the largest card I made are 5x7s, and then I have some of the 4x8 DL cards made as well. So these are standard size cards. They're just beautiful. The Deco-Large kits are those that are layered, so we'll look at using the different layers, and of course I'm going to show you how we can use those layers over several cards instead of one. This is an excellent kit. It's got all kinds of wonderful wildlife scenes and forest scenes. We've got zebra, we've got owls, we've got elephants and rhinos, lions and hedgehogs and squirrels. Oh my. I couldn't help it, Brittany, I had to do it. So let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say is we have this kit available in the regular Deco-Large kit that has 12 sets, 2 of each, for a total of 24 topper sets in a kit. We also have this available in a 12-piece set where you can buy half a kit if you prefer to do that. So I think you'll see that you can actually get a lot of cards from a half a kit, but for the very best value, go with the full kit. So let's take a look at what else we used in our projects today. In addition to this kit, of course, I used the Wild at Heart and Woodland Wonder inserts and paper pack. You're going to be amazed at the really beautiful imagery that they included in this. In this kit, you get 12 inserts to make probably an average of 24 cards. And you get double-sided designer papers that are just spectacular. Of course, we used our myriad board. I used lots of gold. I did use one other piece of myriad that I had sitting here in my work area. I think I used a green, and that was from the, you could actually use it from any of the myriad packs. I think this one happened to have come from Festive, but I believe there's a nice green in the darker shades, or you could have even used the ombre if you want to go with the green. I did not make cards out of these today. I may still make some cards down the road, but the Wild at Heart Woodland Wonder little book is just fabulous. I want to show you some of the imagery from here because it's really, really, really pretty. And I think you'll enjoy it. Look at that little hedgehog. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. And of course you get 6 of each image, 24 different images for a total of 144. You can layer these up by doing your own detail cutting. Look at that hedgehog. Or you can make 144 separate cards out of these. Look at that pheasant. Now this pheasant is not in the regular set, so they've included some things that are separate and apart. I love that. Oh, look at the otter. It's a river otter. I didn't know that was in there either. Okay, I'm getting closer all the time to making little book cards, Brittany. Look at the little field mouse. We've seen him before, but he's wonderful. I didn't realize that they had all these extras. Look at the deer. Oh. You can tell I love animals. In fact, if you know me at all by this point, you know that I'm a lover of animals. We have 7 pets in a household of 3 people. The pets outnumber us more than 2 to 1. Look at the owls. We have many of you who love owls. Isn't that spectacular family scene now? So, the little book is beautiful. If you get the little book, I strongly recommend getting the Wild and Wonderful card block because you're going to need backgrounds for all those cards, and this has just a wonderful variety of patterns for the backgrounds for your cards. In addition to our Hunkydory supplies, because this is a Hunkydory supply, you're going to need lots of foam pads. I use the 2-inch deep foam pads. If you're going to break your toppers up over multiple cards, I recommend using the deeper ones. If you're going to put all of the toppers on one design, as is what Hunkydory had in mind when they made these kits, was one topper set equaled one card, you would probably want to use 1 inch, otherwise your card's going to end up being about yay thick. So I recommend the 2-inch though, or the 2 millimeter deep ones, and we'll take a look at some of my samples. You can see what you like and we can go from there. I've done some detail work and I wanted to show you some options for being able to get glue in those tiny little places. I have 2 favorite glues. One of them is Cosmic Shimmer glue. The other one is Tattered Lace Detail glue. And whether I'm using the Cosmic Shimmer or the Tattered Lace, I really love these little detail tips from Tattered Lace. You just clip the top off your bottle and then you literally just screw this little top in place. Now, you might wonder, is this threaded for that? No, it isn't, but it will hold in place very securely even though it's not threaded. Then you get this wonderful fine tip to work with. It really helps you get into those detailed places and control the flow of your glue. Another option that many of our customers really seem to like are these glue applicators from Tattered Lace. We have the super fine black ones. They come in this neat little dispenser pack, and they're just a little plastic tool with a brush on the end that you can use to get into all those little detail places. They're very affordably priced. It's about $14, I think, for 2, maybe $14.95 at regular price, and you get 100 of them for that. So a little over, what is that, 10 cents an applicator? We also have this one, and you know, I continue using the same one. You can wash these out, so you can make one applicator last a long time. When you're finished with your gluing project, just take it to the sink and rinse it out with water, and you can use this applicator over and over again. This one's a little bit larger tip. And once again, just put a little bit of glue out on your mat or in a little cap and dab it, and away you go. And of course, I'm using my favorite ribbon glue in the world, which is Scrap Perfect's The Best Glue Ever. Perfect for ribbon, perfect for getting things that you want to hold permanently. This actually dries to be like a glue dot, and it holds that ribbon in place very, very securely. It's great for attaching ribbon. I do not necessarily recommend it for your detail gluing, and the reason for that is that if you get any on the surface of your project, this is going to stay sticky forever, like a glue dot. So there's some applications it's the best glue ever, and for some applications I think you're better off with a standard Cosmic Shimmer or Tattered Lace glue. Okay, let's start with our tiger set. Isn't she beautiful? The tiger mom and the baby cub. Oh my gosh, she's so regal looking sitting up there on a rock. Here's our, this is the base sheet, and when Hunkydory makes or manufactures this kit, they assume you're going to use all of the pieces on top of this base sheet. Well, of course we're not, but that's what they assume. So here's our tiger. In addition to our tiger base sheet, we have your Hope Your Birthday's as special as you are. I sent with love on this one, for someone special on this one. So we've got these nice borders. And you're going to find as we go through this kit that I've done some fun things with the throwaway pieces. Don't throw your pieces away until you're finished with the kit, because we're going to do some fun stuff with some of those throwaways today. Here's our other layers. Now, one thing you'll notice about this kit is that these layers are big. So we're not going to make as many cards out of these as we might otherwise make out of some of our other kits. We have a nice image here. in the corner that we can build off of. And one thing I love about Hunkydory, you've heard me say this before, is that they manufacture these such that usually in their cardstock, it's the same size image as it is in the base sheet. So we can actually use some of those layering pieces on this sheet. So instead of 3 cards, which I often make with the Deco-Large, you're going to find in most of these cards, I've made just 2, in most of these sets, I've made just 2 cards because the pieces are larger, but they make up beautifully. Let's take a look at them. Here's our first piece, and this one's actually using that corner. And I have covered my card. This tiger print here comes out of the Papers and Inserts pack. Isn't that a beautiful way to be able to create that backing? And then I used this corner piece, and I created my own gold border around that corner piece with a little piece of mirror board. So I covered my card in the tiger print. I cut a piece of mirror board that was 1/4 inch, so with a 1/4 inch border. This is a 5 by 6.5 card, so I would have cut that at the mirror board at 4.5 by 6 inches, 4.5 by 6 inches. Then I cut my topper down just a little bit smaller than that. And that's where we got this. And I layered some of my pieces. You'll see that there's no layering in the big tiger, but the little cub standing on the rock and these other pieces still give me a nice amount of layering on that card. And then I used the Hope Your Birthday is as Special as You Are topper. I didn't do a lot of other things to this because it just didn't need it. Inside, I put a piece of my insert paper and one of those little borders. Enjoy your day. Done. Beautiful. Here's the second card we made, and this one I took my, this is a USA 6 again, a 5 by 6.5 inch card. I covered it in mirror board, and then I made my background piece just slightly smaller. This doesn't have as wide a borders as the last one we looked at. This one actually has about 1/8 inch on the average. And so I'm going to cut everything 1/4 inch smaller. And then I took that oval topper and those corner pieces and positioned them in. Now, one of the things that you can do to make this easier for yourself is keep this little template here. When you punch those pieces out, keep the little template. Position your tiger where you want her. Then lay that template back over the top and use that to position your 4 corners so that you get those nice and even and pretty. So that's just a little tip that I found to be helpful as I make these. I used the Scent with Love border strip across the bottom. And again, I didn't put a lot of other things on here because it just didn't need it. Inside, we've got that beautiful tiger and the cub. And remember when I said I promised you that we were going to do some fun things with the throwaways? That template we just talked about, I trimmed that out with a nice even border around it. And then I used that as a frame for my tiger and cub on the inside of the card. Didn't that turn out fun? I love that. It's so cute and it's so classy looking, and that's a throwaway piece. Fun, fun. Look at this mama zebra and the foal. Isn't it beautiful? Is it called a foal when it's a zebra? I don't know. The baby zebra, anyway. But beautiful. Then we've got this wishing you a very happy birthday. We've got 2 nice border strips. And look at this border strip here. You've got this nice piece of gold along this edge. There's another nice one to potentially keep there and see if you might use it before you're done. Here's our layering pieces. Now we do have a few more pieces on this one. I will tell you that I still chose to make 2 cards because the pieces were still fairly large. And here's our beautiful side border. Let's see what we did with them. Now, sometimes you will see me cut this whole panel when we have a 4x8 card potential. But see, there's not much happening in the sky up there, and I was not overly impressed with that piece. So what I did instead was this time I used a 4x6 card. This happens to be one of those Anitas. See, there's the pearly finish. I used a 4x6 card, and I used this much of it, and then I came back and I used this piece to create the border on this side. If you look really carefully, you can't see it, that it's two separate pieces unless I point it out to you. But if you look really carefully, you'll see that there's a join here where I've put those pieces in behind, and then I've slid those right in behind the topper. I just lifted it a little bit there, slid it right in behind so that the backing is all one piece. But I like the way that turned out. So cute. And this one says just for you, and there's Mama and Baby again. Next, on this one, we're using the base sheet. We're building up on there. I love this Celebrate It's Your Day. Isn't that neat? The faded zebra stripes in the back and the Celebrate It's Your Day in the front. I thought that was pretty. And all I'm using on that one is my background cardstock. One of those pretty borders off of this sheet. And then the balance of my layering pieces. And you'll see we still got really nice layering on these, even though I'm breaking it between two cards. On the inside, we have actually, this is just another piece of my insert paper. And notice here, I think I mentioned that we had some nice side pieces here. That's what I've used as my little extra strip to get a little gold foiling inside. I used one of those throwaway pieces. And third, we do have a third card in this one because the papers and inserts sheet was so pretty. In this case, I used a 4x8 card. I covered it in gold Mary, and I just cut the piece off of that papers and inserts, slightly smaller than my card, so everything's going to be a 1/2 inch difference. So 3.5 by 7.5. I cut this topper too, put it on, put that beautiful wishing you a very happy birthday. And this little bow here is secured with the best glue ever. That's just made out of jute, household jute cord. Most of us have it in the junk drawer at home. Okay, and on the inside we've used a piece of that papers and inserts. The back of this sheet is this pretty pattern, and I've used that on the inside of that card. Is there anything more stately and majestic looking while at the same time kind of funny looking than a giraffe? This mama giraffe and the baby are just too cute. Little tag says, hope your birthday's extra special. On the side we have just for you, a really nice border. And again, pay attention to these cutoff pieces because there's some really fun cutoffs here. So we've got this one. And again, you can see why I'm going to choose to make 2 cards from the giraffe set, because these are really big images and I wouldn't get a lot of layers if I made more than 2. Here's my layering sheet. Lots of love from me to you. Stand tall and believe in yourself. I do love that one. Best friends, make good times better and the hard times easier, and wishing you a day filled with adventure. When I mentioned these cards, one of the customers asked me, well, Debbie, what am I going to use those animal cards for? And my advice to you is use these animal cards for every occasion that you would use other cards. If you have an animal lover in your life like me, I would be totally delighted to get a card like this. And these are also super special for masculine cards or just for anybody who loves those animals. So use them just as you would any other cards. Look at that wonderful background piece. This art, it's hard to decide what piece of the art to use because it's all so beautiful, but I'll show you what we chose. In fact, here it is right here. I layered some of my pieces on here, and this is the portion that we chose to use right here. And in this case, I didn't cover my card at all. I just used that because I just thought that was the feel that looked good to me on this one. And it just doesn't need a lot. I've got that nice layering, and I've got that nice, this is the one that used that best friends make good times better and the hard times easier. And I just thought it was perfect, just like that. And then I used a piece of my insert paper with a little pattern. You can see in this case I chose to use a 5x7 card because this is a really tall image. It's a giraffe. And I thought that brown bag card would be a nice touch for that, and I think it works out beautifully. These are available in the store. I'll put them on the supplies list. Okay, here's that topper sheet, or they call it the base sheet. And I actually have quite a few layers on this one, but I think she's beautiful. Look at that giraffe, mama and baby. And again, you notice I didn't do a lot with mirror board. I didn't do a lot with anything extra, because by the time I put this layered topper on here and layered another Hope Your Birthday's Extra Special with foam tape up above, I just didn't think it needed any more than that. You can easily reach a point when you're distracting from your project if you put too much. So that's what I did. On the inside, I did that same technique. I used that border piece, and you can see that you kind of have irregular foiling around this outside edge, so I stayed to the inside, and I just cut a nice uniform. Can you see that okay, Brittany? Mm-hmm. I just cut a nice uniform little 1/8" border around that just with my scissors, and I think that turns out so fun as a place to write on the inside of your card. Isn't that fun? Didn't cost me anything. It was a throwaway piece. Next up, out of our papers and inserts pack, I used the back of the paper and insert had this wonderful giraffe pattern on it. I cut my front of the sheet just slightly smaller so that giraffe border would show all the way around. Lots of love from me to you. I didn't do anything else to it. I just liked it just this way. Now, because I had used this backing here and the front of it, I ran out of paper. So I created my own insert by just using a little scrap of leftover. I used that giraffe border, and then I did the Stand Tall and Believe in Yourself. And I think this gives me a perfectly finished inside to my card. The entire face isn't covered, but it doesn't always have to be. What you're looking for with your inside of your cards is just something of interest. And there you go. I love it. I think it's beautiful. Here's Majestic Daddy Lion with his cub. I love that. Look at that. Isn't it just so pretty? Okay. I'm Wild About You, to Someone Special. And then this top of these are a little bit harder to read because they're on brown, but it says Happy Birthday on this one. And this one says, have a roaring great birthday. And this nice border piece. Again, we've got some nice trim work going here. Love that. Here's those nice big layering pieces. This one just touched me. You wonder how you're going to use this? How about sending somebody you love a card that says you're my pride and joy? Isn't that perfect? Congratulations, just for you. These nice little buttons. I love to use those on the inside of my cards. And look at that. Once again, that majestic scenery. It's almost hard to cut it because it's just so beautiful. But we did. Let's see what we did. One of the things I was just mentioning to Brittany is I think this kit would be absolutely perfect if you were trying to give a kit to somebody who's a beginning card maker, who may not have a lot of extra ideas for embellishment and that kind of thing. because you end up with such beautiful, stunning cards, and they just don't require a lot of extras. If you get the kit and the inserts and papers and 1 or 2 basic card sizes with adhesives and the foam squares, they can make fabulous things pretty affordably. This would be a great gift. This would be a great kit to work with young people or with seniors who may just be started in working or may have, trouble coming up with the creative ideas, because the imagery carries the kit by itself. So look at this beautiful lion. I've done almost nothing to it. In this case, I've taken my papers and insert sheet of the lion and his cub. I've put my congratulations up on foam tape. Now, wouldn't that be a great baby card? It'd be a great baby card for the office. It'd be a great baby card for someone you know. Put that pretty little border strip on the inside. The back, I used a piece of the back of the papers and inserts paper. Beautiful. This happens to be done on a 4x6 card. Could be done on any size you like, just cut it to fit. Now, this could just as easily have been on a 5x7. In this case, I chose to put it on a 5x5. But again, if you're making this as if you're bundling this as a gift, then buy 5x7 cards. They can either cut them down themselves, or they can just make the cards a little bit larger, because certainly I could have put my topper up here. Here's another one of those where I am using the framing right along with my topper. And in fact, in this case, I took this and I covered my card with just a piece of simple background paper. It happened to have been a piece of this insert. I just needed something for the background. And then I cut this out around the edges. I used this all in one piece, and then I put my layered topper in the center. I think it turned out great. To someone special, and again, we saw the inside. You're my pride and joy. I love that. I love that sentiment. I love that card. And here's another one. Now, in this case, I've done the same thing, but in this case, I took I had this left over from one of my other topper sets. We'll have to figure out which one it is. It might have been, I think it was the squirrel, actually. I had this piece left over. It wasn't distinguished as a piece for the squirrel, so I used that brown border just to create a fun impression. And again, this is my throwaway piece. So look for creative ways to use all of the pieces if you can. And here's that little button. Like I said, I think just showing the savannah with the little lion in the corner is just a stunning insert. That's it for. Look at this one. There's a rhino, a little bird sitting up on its back. You often see that in nature flicks, that those birds kind of hang out with the rhinos. Thank you for all that you do with the birds. I think that's cute. Happy birthday to you. Have a wonderful day. To someone very special with lots of love. Nice border piece here. The mama and baby and all their layering pieces. Just a note to say, hope you enjoy your day. Handmade with love. And in this case, they didn't put an image on this, so we're going to get just... We're still going to get 2 cards out of this. We just had to be a little bit creative with how we did it, and I'll show you what I did. First of all, here's the actual base piece that they gave us. Got lots of nice layering on there. Happy birthday to you. Now in this case you can see I just took 2 little pieces of raffia and tied it in a shoelace bow and attached it to the corner. That's a nice little touch without being too much. I don't think you want these animal cards to be real frilly. I think you want them to be a little bit more to the masculine side, or a little bit, maybe not so much masculine, but a little bit more to the natural side. So the jute and the raffia, definitely get that done for you. Just a note to say, hope you enjoy your day. And handmade with love on the inside. This doesn't look like it, but it actually is covered with a piece of the insert material. This was on a USA 6 card, the 5 by 6.5. And here's the other one. And what I did with this one is that I used this topper right here, and I built off of that. And you can see that this topper gives me some nice ground to work with. And let's see, no, actually I layered that over this one with the tree. That's what I did. I layered over this one with the tree. So I had that nice background piece. And then I used, I did use this one and a couple of the other pieces and layered up my topper. But I didn't have sky. Will you hand me the owl piece over there, Brittany? In the owl set, you have this nice blue sky. I used a little leftover piece of this, and I slid that back to create my blue sky behind the rhinos. And then the other thing that I did in here that I think is fun, and it kind of still gives that natural look, is you guys know that I like to do paper tearing. In this case, I secured my finished topper down to a piece of the papers and inserts paper that was, it's kind of a mottled color, but it's solid brown, kind of a chocolate brown. And then I just tore away at it. I tore away at it, leaving just a little, this topper's big already, and I wanted to get it to fit a 5-inch wide card. So I didn't make this border real wide, but I tore away at it, tearing off little pieces until I got this little jaggedy edge around the edge. And you can tear off as much or as little as you like. You don't have to tear it if you prefer a more uniform border. You certainly can do that. But I like the way this turned out. I like the roughness of that, especially when you're talking about a rhino. You want that extra roughness. And I did the same thing up here. Thank you for all that you do. And I tore this out. Now remember, when you're tearing paper, if you tear towards yourself, you'll end up with a white border. You don't see a white border here. I didn't want it against all these brown tones. So in this case, I tore that paper away from myself. And you don't see any of the white core of the paper because I tore it away from myself. And I used a little piece of colored raffia. Where do you get raffia? You can get it in, you may have it in your gift wrapping supplies. You can get it in floral supply sections of the store. It's very, very inexpensive stuff. And it's just long, stringy stuff. It's long, stringy grass. And you just lay those strings together and tie a shoestring bow, just as if you're tying your shoes. And then I secured that with with my best glue ever, so that little bow isn't going anywhere. Inside, just use a piece of the papers and inserts, but I think those turned out beautiful. I thought I'd take just a minute and show you what I mean by a shoestring bow, in case anybody's wondering. I bought my raffia I think I bought it in the after Christmas sale. It was kind of with the folk art kind of wrapping supplies. And it came with these different colors in it. And to tie a bow in that raffia, all I'm going to do is get 2 or 3 strands. In this case I have 3 strands, but 2 of them are pretty lightweight. And to tie my bow for this, all I'm going to do is make 2 loops, put one over the other, put the loop through the center, and tie what looks like a shoestring. Then I'm going to pull these in till I get the bow looking just the way I want it. Now you do have 3 strands there, so if anybody is being uncooperative and you have one strand that's trying to come up, you know, closer and you don't want that, you can always adjust the strands, but I'll just keep pulling it in until I get exactly what I want. I will keep tightening that center because as you play with it, it will loosen up. And you don't want the bow to be loose on your card. You want it to stay tied. And when I get exactly what I want, I'm just going to clip my tails. They're super easy to tie. This little shoestring bow can be a fun bow. This is also how I tied my jute bows. But there you go. That's how I tied the shoestring bows. And that's what raffia looks like in the package. It's a fun supply to have on hand, and like I said, it's very, very inexpensive. So pick some of that up and have it available because it's a fun supply to use. This is the last of our Wild at Heart toppers, and then we're going to move to the forest. What do they call it? The Woodland Wonder series. Here's Mama and Baby Elephant. Oh my gosh, I love them. Have a happy birthday. Good luck in your new adventures. Just for you, with love and best wishes, today and always. Beautiful border treatments. There's our base sheet. Here's our other elephants. So you can see you actually could probably get more than 2 images out of this if you wanted to, but you wouldn't have a lot of layering pieces, especially since once again, this time they didn't give me an image. I'm not sure why I feel a little ripped off when I don't get the extra image. They have no obligation to give it to me. I just always think they should give me that extra that I've grown accustomed to. But that's okay, because we made 2 anyway. Here's my topper, and I've used some of the same techniques we've already talked about. I covered my background in that nice, it is nice background. I don't like that they ripped me off, but it is nice background. And see how I use that? I took that right from there, so I got both the top and bottom strips. I wanted to put my bow on the bottom here, so I made the bottom just a little bit wider than the top. And I layered up my elephant. I mounted the elephant topper on some brown paper, and I tore it away to get my nice jaggedy edge. I added my wishing you a day filled with adventures, kind of half over my topper and half over the background. Tied myself a big raffia bow. I'm not sure why I thought that needed to be so big other than it was elephants. They're big. And on the inside, nice insert with a baby elephant. Cute. And here's my other one. Now in this case, I didn't choose to put a sky behind it, and I think it still looked good. Which one did I use for my... I think I used this one for my base. And then I put a couple of extra layers on it. And you can see I have a layer with an elephant, I have a layer with the baby in, and in this case I put a layer with the reflection in the foreground. I added an ear. And I thought that was enough pieces on this extra one. So in this case, I just mounted it directly. This piece of paper in the background was rustic enough looking that I thought it kind of carried the day. Could I have put sky in there? Certainly, I could have put sky. I could have used some more of my blue sky if I'd chosen to, and you certainly can. I'm sure you'd have enough to do that, but I liked it just this way. In this case, I used... I used the border strip that was on here, and then I also had another one sitting here that looked similar from one of the other kits that I didn't use, so I put one on either end. So if you're looking for that and thinking, how did she make that on both sides? It came out of one of the other topper sets. And just for you on the inside. My daughter has a hedgehog, the married one that lives in Washington. And she loves all things hedgehogs, so one of these is going to make a great card for her. I also have another friend with a hedgehog, and these will be great cards for them as well. So we have our beautiful base sheet. There's 2 babies. Is there anything cuter than a baby hedgehog? I don't know. I think I keep saying that about every animal I see in here. Birthday wishes. Hope your day is truly special. Thank you for being a wonderful friend. And the leaves. It just occurs to me that I told you that we had the 24 kit sets and we had 12 kit sets. I want to clarify that when you buy the 12 kit set, you still get all 12 of the toppers. It's not the Woodland Wonder or the Wild at Heart. You get one each of all 12 kits that I'm showing you. So I wanted to clarify that. So there's my base sheet. Happy birthday to someone special. Love and congratulations. Thinking of you. All my cute little layering pieces. In this case, I gave us 2 of those little buttons I love for the inside. Look at the baby. So cute. And there is a wonderful side treatment. You know what we're going to do with that. In fact, let's start with that. That happens to be the first card in my stack here. And I've taken some of my layering pieces, added there. I put this actually onto, I believe this is this is a 4x6 also. This is one of those Anita's European A6 cards, which are approximately 4x6. I get some questions about that. Occasionally people say, I don't want to use anything as big as A6. It's important to know that European A6 is the equivalent of our quarter fold cards. This, an A6, 4 of them would fit on this one sheet. So don't let the larger number, we use A2s for the same basic size card, but this is just the European equivalent of our 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This just happens to be 4 by 6 roughly. I hope I didn't just confuse you there. Is that too much? Okay. All right. So we got love and congratulations. I've just covered my card, added my topper. Here's a little jute bow tied in a shoestring. Didn't need anything else on the inside. I've got my cute little insert and congratulations. Okay. Brittany's our camera person today. Say hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Okay. On this one, I just was inclined to do something fun, so I covered my card in gold Mary. I kept my background sheet just slightly smaller, so I have an 1/8 inch border, which means that I cut my dimensions 1/4 inch smaller on each side. This is a US A6, so it's 5 by 6 1/2. And before I put this down on my mirror board, I wrapped 2 little pieces of jute and scotch taped them to the back of my card. And then I did the same thing down here, wrapped 2 little pieces of jute and scotch taped them to the back of this piece I'm adding. Foam taped that up so that I don't end up with weird bulkiness there. Since this is up on foam tape, those jute cords slide right under there. And then I foam taped my topper on top. I foam taped this greeting, put another little jute bow there. And I think that's a nice effect. And a little bit of extra fun just wrapping those around. So that's something, if you want to do a little more, that's a nice touch too. You know, just let your jute show in the background. Here's my little button, those little leaves, and a piece of my insert material. Cute. One more. The Papers and Inserts paper had another really cute image, and so I did this in green mirror board. I think you could use any green you wanted, or you could certainly use gold. Candidly, I probably would have used gold, but I was out of gold at my desk and I saw green sitting there and saw this green and thought, oh, that looked cute, so I used it. In this case, all I've done is cut that image slightly smaller than my mirror board, put my Thinking of You up on some foam tape, tied a bow. I just didn't think it wanted any more than that. I thought it was really cute just like that. On the inside, I've got a piece of my paper and insert. This is the back of this sheet, had this nice pattern on it. I mounted that on the inside, used a border strip I had sitting here and added the little hedgehog on the inside. Done. Cute. This topper set from Woodland Wonder is called A Walk in the Countryside. The base layer here shows a couple, I think those are Springer Spaniels, I'm not sure. But those of you who know dogs better than I, if I have mislabeled them, feel free to correct me. A little message from me to you, happy birthday, and then this little kind of burlap sort of edge here. I love this plaid in the background, so you get this really nice piece of plaid between these two borders here. See that? There's another good potential saver. Here's our layering pieces. You really got quite a few pieces on this one. And look here. They made it up to me. On the other topper I was complaining because they didn't give me an image on the cardstock. This time they gave me two. So of course I used two. Let's start with this one. It comes from right here. And I really wanted to keep some of that meadow because I thought that was some of the beautiful effect of this particular cardstock is all of those beautiful rolling hills and the trees behind the dog. Hope your day is truly special with a little raffia bow, and I put the little happy birthday across the bottom. I used it, this piece of border comes from right here. Use that little border across the top, and then I used the leftover piece of border on the inside. Happy birthday to someone special. Love it. I think it's beautiful. Here's our other piece. I used a smaller card here because I chose to use a larger card here. That last one was a USA 6 5 by 6.5. And so this time I went upward and I made this card. And he's all layered up, and I put a little, here's that, one of those little throwaway strips behind the birthday wishes. Little piece of raffia. And on this one, because I got 4 cards out of this pack, I actually created this insert out of 2 pieces of leftover insert paper. I liked it. Next up, look at that beautiful card. Oh my gosh, it's pretty. This has lots of layers. It could probably have layered a little bit more on the other one, but I still like this just the way it is. It's pretty. This has a lot of layers though, see that? You can see how high I'm getting here. If I had used all the layers on this sheet, I'd probably need to mail this in a card box. This one says with love, got my little raffia bow there. I've just used my background paper. This time I took it from here. Now, I didn't, because I already cut one here and I already cut one here, I didn't have a wide enough piece of this to do the whole thing. So I put this here and then I ran a border strip along the edge to use my, so I could fit it on my 6.5 by 5 card. Didn't that turn out fun? Inside, beautiful. One last one. The inserts and papers also had a pretty image. So naturally we cut that off and use that on the face of a card. A little message from me to you right off our topper sheet. Little raffia bow. Nice piece of the insert paper, or the papers and inserts paper. This very same one I just continued the scene on the inside. Now this is glossy. You might want to write on it with a felt pen, but it turns out great. There we go. We got 4 cards out of that set. Brittany just mentioned to me that I misled you. I said this came off of here. This actually came off of here, off of the papers and insert sheet. This one did not have the dog prints. But it's still, the same thing held true because I already cut all of these off to use. I cut this off using this piece And the inside, I still had a narrower strip here, and I still used the border strip, but I did mislead you. That came off this background piece again. Here came off the papers and inserts. Okay, this one's called Woodland Friends. This is my base layer. You can see you've got a lot going on with this topper set. Here's, you got little bunnies, you got a badger, you got fox and a baby fox, a pheasant. Somehow I don't think the pheasant would be walking right in front of the fox, but this is a whimsical world where pheasants can live and do that. A little cottage in the background. To a lovely friend on your birthday, may all your wishes come true on your special day. Everyone needs a friend like you. This is really, really beautiful, and it's got a lot going on. So I did something in this one I did not do in any other set, and that is I used all of my pieces on one set. Did I have to? No. Could I have made 2 cards? Yes. I could have used this piece that had most of the elements and layered them between the two, but in this particular case I chose to use them all on one. Here's my background sheet, and here's the cards I made. And this one's got a lot of layers, so if you enjoy having less layers, you might want to make that 2 cards. In this case I made it all one, but you can see how high that is. That is really high. It does have a nice effect, and I do like the way it turned out, but it's got lots of layers. So that's what it looks like anyway if you do them all on one. Everybody needs a friend. Everyone needs a friend like you. Wishing you a perfect day. Beautiful all occasion card. Thinking of you on your special day, and a little bunny in the corner. Next up, here's a piece of that green Mary again. In this case, I took the papers and inserts piece with that scene. I mounted that on a piece of green mirror board, and I left just a tiniest edge showing around the edge. Then I mounted all of that on a piece of gold Mary. I did that because I wasn't going to do anything other than the mirror board treatment, because these papers and inserts don't have the foiling. That brought my foiling into my card, that and this little tag, and I double matted that just for some fun and interest, but it's got so much going on in it otherwise I didn't put anything. Even a bow I think would have been distracting on this one, because there's just a lot happening in that scene. Pretty, but there's a lot happening. There's our little badger and our field of poppies. And finally, here's the side piece. And I didn't do much to it. I covered a 4x8 card. I put this little border strip, which is a made border strip. Look here, it's that piece right there between these 2 toppers. See that? So I've got foiling on both edges. And there's my little greeting, especially for you, with the little bunnies on it. Again, I didn't do a lot with it because it just already has a lot happening. And I put the matching insert, which I thought was really cute. May all your wishes come true. I love this owl topper. Wishing you the most beautiful day. And look at those. Now, what do you call a baby owl? Da, 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 da. The answer is we don't know. If you know, email us. Especially for you. And this nice little leaf treatment. In one of the others, you saw that I used this piece right here. This was the found piece that I used on maybe on the inside of something where I said I didn't have enough card. This was the piece I used for that, I believe. Because it was a nice found piece. Here's our layers. Mama and baby owls. Sending lots of love on your special day. Handmade with love and birthday wishes. Greetings on that sheet. Look at that beautiful scene. That is just as pretty as they get. Gorgeous. Here's what we did with them. Here's that side piece right here. And this one built things up And then I used that pretty little leaf pattern across the top. And then I didn't have a piece wide enough to do the bottom too, but that was okay because it kind of slid it in under here. And I only needed enough to where it didn't show. And then I had a top and bottom border, and I thought that was a nice finished look. Sending lots of love. On the inside, we just have a little insert with a border strip. I had this piece here left over. I used it right there. And I love this one. Oh, so pretty. There's that big image all layered up with all of her pieces. There's the mama and the baby. Put birthday wishes on this one. Put a little border strip here. Put the little corner frames. Didn't need anything else. I just left it alone because I thought it was perfect. Nice insert. This is a 5x7 brown bag card. Again, we have these available in the store. I really like the brown cards for some of these nature scenes. Just in case you missed our Jeopardy challenge, a baby owl is called an owlet. Now we all know. Next up, squirrels. This one's called Super Squirrel Base Layer. And there he is. He's a super squirrel. I love the way these European squirrels kind of have a mohawk haircut. See that? And they all are like that, so it must just be what they look like in Europe. Wishing you a relaxing day. Just be you. Enjoy the moments. Nice little border strip here. This is definitely the one I stole for the lions. Now I see that's actually acorns, but no one will ever make that relationship because it's on a lion. Okay, here's our pieces. Lots and lots of leaves on this one. And matching those leaves is a fun time. And look at that sweet scene. I wasn't about to waste those leaves though, so I kept at it till I found a place for every leaf to go because I needed to do it. This looks like a hazelnut tree. Yummy. Okay, I must be getting hungry. Sorry guys. I started a new eating plan the first of the year. It doesn't take much for me to get distracted. Okay, here we go. Here's that back layer. This is made from here. I just centered this between the two to get that piece right there. And wishing you a relaxing day. I added my squares. Remember I said that you can use that little template to position those so you get those nice and even. You don't have to. If you've got a great eye, you can just stick them on there, but I tend to do better if I have a little template to position them. And I just lay it there, I glue them through the squares, and then I peel my template off. It works. Look at that. Didn't that turn out cute? Just to put that little thing right there in the middle. I love that. That was fun. I'm easily entertained. And here's my little raffia bow. One more. Here's the squirrel I cut off here. With those tasty hazelnuts again, I might add. And we've got our cute little enjoy the moments. You know, I think that particularly fits this squirrel because I love to do things like just sit on the porch and watch the squirrels play in the trees behind our house. That is, to me, just enjoying the moments. Here's a little found piece. See that single border there? That means that was a throwaway piece that I salvaged and put there because I liked it. And doesn't that make a nice balance with the top and the bottom? Little raffia shoe tie bow. Little squirrel on the inside. And here's another found piece. I got to show you this because I thought this was particularly clever. See that? How we have that nice brown and then we have the white and then we have the green? You know where I got that, Brittany? I got that right. Where'd he go? Oh, it's in here. I got that right here. Did you see that? I saw this little strip and it had a nice strip of green and white and brown, and I thought that would be a really nice border. So I cut that off, and didn't that turn out cute? It's perfect for that. There we go. Never wanted to waste anything. This one's called the Stunning Stag, and here's our base layer. Wishing someone very special a wonderful day, just for you, and then just some nice pattern in the background. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that scenery. Ah, so pretty. Here's all our pieces. And in here we've got congratulations, wishing you all the best, happy birthday. Look again, see? There's another one of those nice borders if you wanted to steal it. Anytime they space that down, you can get yourself a little really nice combined border. I don't think it necessarily works well on all of the patterns, but on these that are more rustic and you just kind of want simple borders, I think those borders turn out great. I also like this one where, see, it's shaded in a little bit darker green. That would also be pretty. And here's our side treatment. You already know what we're going to do with that. And here we go. Here's our base layer mounted just on that beautiful plaid background. I think that's beautiful. That plaid just works so well with that. And it just for you, put a happy birthday on it. It didn't touch it otherwise. It just doesn't want anything else. On the inside, you'll notice that I didn't have quite a big enough piece to do the entire inside, so I just left a border around it, and it looks great. Here is another one where I've manipulated it a little bit. When I added my layering pieces, you can see that the layering pieces for this come way out one direction and the other, but my image was narrow, and I just didn't want to give those up. So, you know what I did? I covered my card like this. And if you look really carefully, I think you can see my join there, where I took this strip and came in on the other side and matched it so that I have this nice wide piece overlapping a wider card. Didn't that turn out pretty? I think that's perfect. And wishing you all the best. Put my little border strip here. This is on a 5x7 card. And here's that nice plaid insert material. And this is actually a found strip. See the plaid on both, or plaid with the gold on both sides? That means that's one we salvaged. Love it. One last card here. We'll be done for today. Here is our stag. This is off of the Papers and Inserts pack. And I just loved the image. It killed me. You actually could have made this a big A3 card. Now in European, A3 is the big one. That's half of one of these. You actually could very easily have made this an A3 card because the image is just stunning. But I wanted to keep my cards smaller to keep with the whole Deco-Large doesn't have to be huge theme. So I took a 4x8, I picked the part of the scenery I loved the most, and I covered my card with that. Then I used a couple of border pieces, raffia bow, and the back of that Papers and Inserts has this beautiful plaid and this side border, wishing someone a very special and wonderful day. With the Papers and Inserts together with the kit, it really works out to where you have almost the perfect amount of material. Sometimes you have to kind of get creative to get inserts into everything, but you really end up with almost the perfect amount of material. There was very, very little scrap when I was done. And this was, all these cards you've seen here were made using half of the Deco-Large kit and one pack of Papers and Inserts. If you're buying a large kit, get 2 of the papers and inserts to have enough to cover everything. This is the Deco-Large Woodland Wonders and Wild at Heart collection. We got 32 cards from half of this kit. So if you get the full-size kit and 2 papers and inserts, you should be able to get about 64 cards from this one set. It's a haul of really, really beautiful materials. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like our videos and want to subscribe, go to our store, scroll to the bottom of our homepage, there's a place to sign up for our emails. Not only will we tell you about our videos when we put them out, we'll send you an email that has a link to the video and a link to all of the products that we've used with the supplies list in our store. So that's really convenient for you to find things quickly and easily. I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts, and we'll see you next time.